Good day, students. Today we are going to look at under Unit 3. We are going to look at the next aspect to be covered, and that is the law of supply or supply analysis. So far we have looked at production, we have looked at costs, revenue, and we discussed about profit, isn't it? Right? Finally, whatever is being produced by the producer has to be offered for sale in the market, and that is where supply comes into the picture. So to begin with, let us look at the meaning of supply. Now, what exactly is supply? Now, if you are a producer of a commodity, you as students, I'm sure some of you have that entrepreneurial spirit in you, and on a smaller scale, let us suppose say you are doing some small item which you find, which you are passionate about, and let us suppose you are saying, let's say someone's into baking. Okay, you bake and sell cupcakes. Okay, or you make jewelry, you sell jewelry. Now, I'm sure there are many who do it. Now, you as a seller of a product, okay, what kind of a price would you like? If you want to sell more of your jewelry item, okay, when would you sell more of it? When the price of a commodity is high or when the price of a commodity is low? Definitely when it is high. So, first foremost thing, as a producer, the major determinant or the major factor that will influence my quantity that I am willing to supply in the market will be price. And what is the relationship between price and supply? Every producer would like to sell more of the good when the price is high. Similarly, if the price is low, a producer will be selling less of the commodity, right? Because ultimately your aim as a producer is to make profits, and you can make higher profits when you get a higher price. So price and supply share a direct or a positive relationship. Higher the price, larger is the quantity which is offered for sale in the market. Lower the price, lesser will be the quantity that is offered for sale in the market. Now here we need to cover two things: supply of a commodity and quantity supply. Supply of a commodity would refer to the various quantities that a producer is offering for sale at different possible prices. So at this price, I'm willing to offer this much quantity. At this price, I'm willing to offer this much quantity. While quantity supplied would be at a particular price, I'm willing to offer this much quantity for sale. Okay, it's a small difference, but we need to know the difference between the two terms, quantity supplied and supply of a commodity. Now, in order to understand the concept further, I will play a small video for you.
Now that we've got the demand curve down, let's move on to the supply curve. A supply curve shows how much of a good suppliers are willing and able to supply at different prices. As with the demand curve, there's a supply curve for every good and service. And again, the ideas are the same, so let's look at the supply curve for oil. We see an intuitive relationship between price and the quantity supplied. As the price goes up, the quantity of oil that companies are willing to supply increases. In this example, at a low price, $5 per barrel, let's say 10 million barrels of oil are supplied per day. At $20 per barrel, 25 million barrels are supplied. And at $55 per barrel, 50 million barrels are supplied. So in general, a higher price means a greater quantity supplied. Let's delve deeper and see why. Oil exists all over the world, but it's not equally easy to extract. In some places like Saudi Arabia, it's really easy to get oil out of the ground. It costs about $2 a barrel to extract. Oil in the US, like from Alaska, is a lot deeper, and getting it out costs more, at least $10 per barrel. And producing oil from an oil rig like the Atlantis rig in the Gulf Coast is even more expensive. That rig has to descend more than a mile underwater before drilling even begins. When oil prices are relatively low, the only suppliers that can turn a profit are those who can get to the oil cheaply, like Saudi Arabia. As the price goes up, other suppliers in Nigeria, Russia, and Alaska who have higher extraction costs start to become profitable, so they can enter the market. As the price gets higher, even the most expensive extraction techniques become profitable. The supply curve slopes upward because the only way the quantity of oil can be increased is to exploit higher and higher cost sources of oil. As the price of oil goes up, the depth of the oil wells goes down. With this simple line, the supply curve summarizes the way suppliers respond to a change in price, including how suppliers will enter and exit the market depending on the price. So far, we've said things.
So if you go to see, the major determinant or the main determinant of supply is price.